Good morning, listeners. Welcome to another episode of Divash's Bollywood Bites this Saturday, the 2nd of April 2022. I can't really say much about the fact that we are now in British summertime, but one thing I can say is that the weather has not changed. It still feels very, very wintry. So, high pressure becomes centred to the northwest of Britain. That allows cold Arctic air to sweep southwards across the UK, and we are going to be seeing a potentially wintry spell for this time of year. However, having said that, I am with you up until 1 p.m. this afternoon. Your weather outlook for the day is that colder weather will be pushing southwards across all of the UK, with wintry showers developing, but they will mostly be focused on northern and eastern Britain. There could be some longer spells of rain, sleet and snow during the first few hours of today, and significant accumulations are possible over some higher ground. Frost will become widespread tonight. In the meantime, we are focusing on today, so I'm going to tell all my listeners to sit back, relax, enjoy the day ahead of you. We've got some great music ahead of us, so whether you're drinking your garma garam chai this morning, or whether you are doing some household chores, or whether you are just chilling out, sit back, relax and listen to Divash's Bollywood Bites. Listeners, I love to give you the weather outlook at the beginning of my show, and every single week I think soon the summer will come. But you know, today it really feels like winter. It is so gloomy and depressing out there, but I'll tell you one thing, you know what, I live in the hope that the summer is going to come very soon. And in fact, forecasters are predicting that April is going to be a very hot month in the latter half. So they are predicting 28 degrees Celsius temperatures. Only time will tell, and only my foresight will be correct. Time will tell, as I said, but in the meantime, sit back and relax. I have got a great show lined up for you guys today. But before I tell you what we've got in store for you today, let's listen to my first song from the film Vijay, the music of Shiv Hari, and the vocals of Vinod Rathod, Lata Mangeshkar with Suresh Watkar. Zindagi Har Janam, Pyar Ki Dasta.
Zindagi Har Janam, Pyar Ki Dasta. Zindagi Har Janam, Pyar Ki Dasta. Kaisi zameen जीवन की एक ही कहानी है।
मैं हूँ तेरा पता, तू मेरी निशानी है।
तेरे मेरे जीवन की एक ही कहानी है।
मैं हूँ तेरा पता, तू मेरी निशानी है।
बुझते नहीं दिल के दिए, चाहे चले आंधियां।
जिंदगी हर जन्म, प्यार की दास्तां।
कैसी जमीन क्या आसमां, तू कहे तो बदल दूं जहां।
जिंदगी हर जन्म, प्यार की दास्तां। तेरे मेरे सपनों में रंग नए आएंगे।
यही होंगे पर होंठ बदल जाएंगे।
तेरे मेरे सपनों में रंग नए आएंगे।
गीत यही होंगे पर होंठ बदल जाएंगे।
जब तक जिए यूं ही जिए,
तोड़ कर सारी पाबंदियां,
जिंदगी हर जन्म प्यार की दास्तां।
कैसी जमीन क्या आसमां, तू कहे तो बदल दूं जहां। जिंदगी हर जन्म प्यार की दास्तां, जिंदगी हर
I absolutely love this song. It's such an uplift feel for this song, and I've been listening to this song ever since it got released on video cassette in 1988. All the tracks are so strong in this film, and it's the music of Shiv Hari, that's Pandit Shiv Kumar Sharma and Pandit Hari Prasad Chaurasiya. Amazing compositions, and well, what does one expect from a Yash Chopra film? The vocals of Vinod Rathod with Lata Mangeshkar and Suresh Wadkar from the 1988 hit film Vijay, produced and directed by Yash Chopra and picturized on Rishi Kapoor, Anil Kapoor, Meenakshi Seshadri and Sonam. You're listening to BHF Radio. My name is Divash, and I will be with you till 1 PM this afternoon, playing you all the very best of Hindi music over the years, Hindi trivia, Hindi entertainment, and interviews with your favourite stars. And today, this is the star that I will be presenting my segment on.
For me, it was like a pianist losing his fingers. At 19, 20, it's devastating. The role that I wanted to instinctively play was Amir's role. I mean, you don't have to be a Hrithik Roshan or a Govinda or a Tiger or a Prabhu Deva to be able to dance. I always have a complaint against stage is that my performance is not recorded. I don't like that.
Conversation with Akshay Khanna, son of Vinod Khanna, and his special exclusive interview will be coming up in my segment later on within the show. Let's have an Akshay Khanna song which you will all recognise from that brilliant film that he started off with. The film that his father introduced him with by producing, Himalaya Putra from 1997.
न वो इनकार करती है, न वो इकरार करती है, न वो इनकार करती है, न वो इकरार करती है। हमें फिर भी यकीन है वो हमें से प्यार करती है। न वो इनकार करती है, न वो इकरार करती है।
न वो इनकार करता है, न वो इकरार करता है, न वो इनकार करता है, न वो इकरार करता है। हमें फिर भी यकीन है वो हमें से प्यार करता है। न वो इनकार करता है, न वो इकरार करता है।
अजब लड़की वो जब मिलती यूं रह जाती है शर्मा के। अजनबी है वो जो देखो तो बड़ी मासूम बिल्कुल अजनबी है वो मगर जब मैं नहीं होता तो मुझको सोचती है वो
छुप छुप के मुझे को देखता रहता है रोजाना मगर जब सामने आता है बन जाता है अनजाना
बिना मेरी इजाजत वो मेरा दीदार करती है न वो इनकार करती है न वो इकरार करती है हमें फिर भी यकीन है वो हमें से प्यार करती है
न वो इनकार करता है न वो इकरार करता है हमें फिर भी यकीन है वो हमें से प्यार करता है
Produced by Vinod Khanna, introducing Akshay Khanna, the 1997 film Himalaya Putra, vocals of Udit Narayan with Alka Yagnik, and the music of Anu Malik. You're listening to BHF Radio. My name is Divash, and you will have my company up until 1 p.m. this afternoon, playing you the very best in Hindi film entertainment. The time has just gone 10:15 a.m. I'll be with you till 1 p.m. this afternoon, playing your favourite songs, your favourite film star interviews, and this week's trivia from that beautiful tinsel town called Bollywood. Now, just to give you a sneak peek of what we're going to be playing music-wise in this programme, I present this quick jingle with your favourites that you'll be listening to, so stay tuned in to Divash's Bollywood Bites, live and direct on BHF Radio with these tracks.
घायल कर दे मुझे यार तेरी पायल की झनकार सोनी सोनी तेरी सोनी हर अदा को सलाम सलाम इश्क 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 सलाम इश्क
वो औरत है तू महबूबा तू सब कुछ है वो कुछ भी नहीं
इश्क बिना क्या जीना यारो इश्क बिना क्या मरना यारो इश्क बिना क्या जीना यारो इश्क बिना क्या मरना यारो दूध से मीठा इश्क इश्क इमली से खट्टा इश्क इश्क
आईना है मेरा चेहरा आईना है मेरा चेहरा अपनी तस्वीर तो देख ले
And that is a sneak peek of what you will be listening to in today's programme, together with your favourite hits only on BHF Radio. And my next presentation is a particular favourite of mine. This goes out to my dear mama in Coventry. And my mama's a very, very private person. He doesn't really like his name showcased this way, so I will keep it anonymous. However, this is one of his particular favourite songs, and for my dear mama in Coventry, I present this song for you. It's from the film Anand, picturised on the one and only Rajesh Khanna, and this is the song that we all prayed that Rajesh Khanna would live eternally for. The vocals of Mukesh.
कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए, सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए, चुपके से आए, मेरे ख्यालों के आंगन में कोई सपनों के दीप जलाए, दीप जलाए, कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए, सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए, चुपके से आए। कभी यूं ही जब हुई बोझल सांसें भर आई, बैठे बैठे जब यूं ही आंखें, तभी मचल के प्यार से चल के छुए कोई मुझे पर नजर न आए, नजर न आए, कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए, सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए, चुपके से आए। कहीं तो ये दिल कभी मिल नहीं पाते, कहीं पे निकल आए जन्मों के नाते, है मीठी उलझन बेरी अपना मन, अपना ही होके सहे दर्द पर आए, दर्द पर आए, कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए, सांझ की दुल्हन बदन चुराए, चुपके से आए, मेरे ख्यालों के आंगन में कोई सपनों के दीप जलाए, दीप जलाए, कहीं दूर जब दिन ढल जाए, सांझ की दुल्हन।
The vocals of Mukesh singing for the melody of Salil Chaudhary from the 1970 film Anand. Now, it's very rare, especially for a man, to shed tears after watching a movie, but this is one such film which really does make me personally shed tears for Anand, who plays the main protagonist, played by the superstar of the 1970s, the late great Rajesh Khanna. Now, this movie has everything going for it, from acting, direction, story, music, dialogues. Every aspect of this film is fabulous. It contains dollops of drama, humour and emotions, and it simply tells the story of a dying man who views life with a very positive attitude, enjoying his time across his illness, knowing full well that his disease is incurable and that he is going to die very soon. Now, the story goes like this. Anand Sehgal, played by Rajesh Khanna, arrives in Mumbai to get treated for his lymphsarcoma of the intestine under Dr. Prakash. Now, he then befriends Dr. Prakash's colleague, Dr. Bhaskar Banerjee, played by Amitabh Bachchan, and Anand tries to bring happiness to Dr. Banerjee's life. He decides to stay with Dr. Banerjee instead of getting admitted to Dr. Prakash's nursing home. And Dr. Bhaskar Banerjee is a no-nonsense character who treats his patients with utmost seriousness and treats his life similarly. The story moves on as Anand continues to befriend people from different walks of life. Bhaskar and Anand bond very well, and Anand gets Bhaskar's love life on track. It reaches a stage where Bhaskar does not want to lose Anand anymore, and as time passes, Anand's condition starts to deteriorate, and everyone who is just around him, including the viewer, is just hoping for a miracle to take place. The film Anand won 6 Filmfare Awards in the year 1972, respectively for Best Film, Best Story, Best Editing, Best Actor to Rajesh Khanna, Best Supporting Actor to Amitabh Bachchan, as well as Best Dialogue to Gulzar. This is a testament that goes to show how impactful this film was. And in this film itself, Hrishikesh Mukherjee, the director, informed his writer, the famous Gulzar, to open the film in such a way that the audience knows in the first scene itself that Anand, played by Rajesh Khanna, is dead. He did not want the audience to be in a state of suspense till the end of the film and to keep guessing whether Anand will survive or not. And by doing this, the director wanted to concentrate on the essence of the film, on how Anand wants to live life for the fullest and make the best time that he has. In essence, there's that famous dialogue in the film, कि जिंदगी बड़ी होनी चाहिए, लंबी नहीं. Translated as life should be big, not long. Originally, director Hrishikesh Mukherjee had envisioned Shashi Kapoor, the brother of Raj Kapoor, for the role of Anand. Now, ideally he wanted Raj Kapoor himself, but he had just recovered from his illness and Mukherjee could not bear to see him dying on screen since he had almost died in real life. In any case, Shashi Kapoor was not eager for the role, so Rajesh Khanna got it, and this remains his most memorable role, with Aradhna and Amar Prem releasing ironically around the same time. And did you know that the term Babu Moshai means great gentleman, and Raj Kapoor often affectionately addressed director Hrishikesh Mukherjee with this term, just the same way that Anand addresses Dr. Banerjee with the same name in the film. Hence, the film is a tribute to the city of Mumbai and Raj Kapoor. He, in an interview, mentioned that the liveliness of Bombay City, as it was known then, is very much like the liveliness of the main character, Anand.
बाबू मोशाय कब आए? चोरी चोरी मेरा गाना सुन रहे थे?
हाँ.
कैसा लगा?
बहुत खूबसूरत, लेकिन कुछ उदास लगा.
उदासी खूबसूरत नहीं होती है बाबू मोशाय.
हाँ, होती है. मगर तुम्हें तो हमेशा हंसते देखा है ना, इसलिए.
तो क्या हर हंसी के पीछे सिर्फ खुशी रहती है बाबू मोशाय? कभी कभी गम भी तो.
आनंद, खुशी तो तुम सबके साथ बांटते हो. आज मेरे साथ थोड़ा सा अपना गम भी बांट लो.
नहीं 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 बाबू मोशाय, ये चीज मैं किसी के साथ नहीं बांटने वाला. हाँ, माफ करना, जरा इस मामले में थोड़ा सा सेल्फिश हूँ.
Now, Rajesh Khanna as Anand in this film is absolutely brilliant. I would say that this is his career best performance. Now, listeners, if you haven't seen the film Anand, I suggest you watch it. Immerse yourself deep into those emotions. We're all human. We all experience sad moments in life. But if you ever are going through a sad moment, watch the film Anand. It will not only give you that pickup that you need, but you will end the film appreciating the essence of life. Life is beautiful. Watch the film Anand. And with this in mind, I present my next song, Embrace Life, by the UK-based band SDR. the vocals of Dev Joshi, together with the mastering and the tabla by Sri Gadvi, and the beautiful melodious flute by Robin Christian. Ae Zindagi.
ऐ जिंदगी गले लगा ले, ऐ जिंदगी गले लगा ले, हमने भी तेरे हर एक गम को गले से लगाया है ना। ऐ जिंदगी गले लगा ले, ऐ जिंदगी गले लगा ले, हमने भी तेरे हर एक हमको गले से लगाया है ना। ऐ जिंदगी गले लगा ले, गले लगा ले, गले लगा ले। हमने बहाने से चुपके जमाने से पलकों के पर्दे में घर भर लिया। हमने बहाने से चुपके जमाने से पलकों के पर्दे में घर भर लिया। तेरा सहारा मिल गया है जिंदगी, ला 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 ला। तेरा सहारा मिल गया जिंदगी, ऐ जिंदगी गले लगा ले, ऐ जिंदगी गले लगा ले, हमने भी तेरे हर एक हमको गले से लगाया है ना। ऐ जिंदगी गले लगा ले, गले लगा ले, गले लगा ले।
What an amazing track from the original film which introduced Sri Devi, the film Sadma from 1983, and this is a cover version created by Sri Gadvi, Dev Joshi and Robin Christian, Embracing Life. I present my next song from the film Police Public of 1990, Amit Kumar with Lata Mangeshkar.
मैं जिस दिन भुला दूं तेरा प्यार दिल से, वो दिन आखिरी हो मेरी जिंदगी का। मैं जिस दिन भुला दूं तेरा प्यार दिल से, वो दिन आखिरी हो मेरी जिंदगी का।
ये आंखें उसी राह आंखें उसी रात हो जाए अंधी, जो तेरे सिवा देखे सपना किसी का। मैं जिस दिन भुला दूं तेरा प्यार दिल से, वो दिन आखिरी हो मेरी जिंदगी का।
खुशबू हूँ इसको बिखरने न देना, मुझे अपने दिल से उतरने न देना। मैं खुशबू हूँ इसको बिखरने न देना।
हमेशा रहूं मैं तेरे बाजुओं में, न टूटे ये बंधन कभी दोस्ती का। ये आंखें उसी रात हो जाए अंधी, ये आंखें उसी रात हो जाए अंधी, जो तेरे सिवा देखे सपना किसी का। मैं जिस दिन भुला दूं तेरा प्यार दिल से, वो दिन आखिरी हो मेरी जिंदगी का। मैं जिस दिन भुला दूं तेरा प्यार।
This song is so uplifting. I actually get goosebumps every time I listen to it. Fabulous job done by Lakshmikant Pyarelal composing this song, and I would like to play once again, like last week, a few seconds of the predecessor song which influenced this composition.
जिस दिन भुला दूं तेरा प्यार दिल से, वो दिन आखिरी हो मेरी जिंदगी का। ये आंखें उसी रात हो जाए अंधी, जो तेरे सिवा देखे सपना किसी का। मैं जिस दिन भुला दूं तेरा प्यार दिल से, वो दिन आखिरी हो मेरी जिंदगी का।
The golden vocals of Mehdi Hassan, whose composition here influenced Lakshmikant Pyarelal to release this song within their film Police Public. A beautiful number indeed. You're listening to BHF Radio. My name is Divash, and the time is coming up to 10:36 a.m. I'll be with you till 1 p.m. this afternoon, playing you the very best of Hindi music, as well as UK mainstream music, as well as a great interview with Akshay Khanna coming up shortly. In the meantime, sit back, relax. I hope you're enjoying your Saturday morning, and I present to you my next song, the vocals of Sonu Nigam with Mahalakshmi Ayo from the 2006 hit Amir Khan and Kajol in the film Fana.
मेरे हाथ में तेरा हाथ हो, सारी जन्नतें मेरे साथ हो। मेरे हाथ में तेरा हाथ हो, सारी जन्नतें मेरे साथ हो। तू जो पास हो फिर क्या ये जहां, तेरे प्यार में हो जाऊं फना।
मेरे हाथ में तेरा हाथ हो, सारी जन्नतें मेरे साथ हो। तू जो पास हो फिर क्या ये
साथ हूँ।
तेरे दिल में मेरी सांसों को पनाह मिल जाए, तेरे इश्क में मेरी जान फना हो जाए।
जितने पास है खुशबू सांस के, जितने पास होठों के सरगम, जैसे साथ है करवट याद के, जैसे साथ बाहों के संगम।
जितने पास पास ख्वाबों के नजर, उतने पास तू रहना हम सफर। तू जो पास हो फिर क्या ये जहां, तेरे प्यार में हो जाऊं फना।
मेरे हाथ में तेरा हाथ हो, सारी जन्नतें मेरे साथ हों।
रोने दे आज हमको, तू आंखें सुजाने दे, बाहों में ले ले और खुद को भीग जाने दे। है जो सीने में कैद दरिया वो छूट जाएगा, है इतना दर्द कि तेरा दामन भीग जाएगा।
जितने पास पास धड़कन के है राज, जितने पास बूंदों के बादल, जैसे साथ साथ चंदा के है रात, जितने पास नैनों के काजल।
जितने पास पास सागर के लहर, उतने पास तू रहना हम सफर। तू जो पास हो फिर क्या ये जहां, तेरे प्यार में हो जाऊं फना।
मेरे हाथ में तेरा हाथ हो, सारी जन्नतें मेरे साथ हो।
अधूरी सांस थी, धड़कन अधूरी थी, अधूरे हम, मगर अब चांद पूरा है फलक पे और अब पूरे हैं हम।
The film where Jatin, Lalit, the great music directors of the 90s, actually parted ways. Now, I was reading about their split, and it was actually quite unfortunate because it was due to their wives' differences with each other. Having said that, the two brothers themselves tried to stay cordial, but obviously it didn't work. And insiders say in the industry that the tension got so bad between the brothers they had to split. It's a shame really, because they created such beautiful compositions, from Kuch Kuch Hota Hai to Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum. They had Mohabbatein, they had Dilwale Dulhania Le Jayenge, they had Pyar To Hona Hi Tha. So many great compositions. And I think that last film that I mentioned, I would like to play one of my favourites from that 1998 French Kiss remake, Pyar To Hona Hi Tha, starring Ajay Devgan and Kajol. One of my favourites this is. I hope it is for you as well.
अजनबी मुझको इतना बता, दिल मेरा क्यों परेशान है, देख के तुझको ऐसा लगे जैसे बरसों की पहचान है।
कितनी भोली है तू, कितनी नादान है, दिल की बातों से अनजान है।
अजनबी मुझको इतना बता, दिल मेरा क्यों परेशान है, देख के तुझको ऐसा
मुश्किल तुझे वो बताना।
मैंने सुना है कि मुश्किल बड़ा है, तभी चाहतों को छुपाना।
है क्या सोचता हूँ मैं, क्या चाहता हूँ, है मुश्किल तुझे वो बताना।
हो मैंने सुना है कि मुश्किल बड़ा है, तभी चाहतों को छुपाना।
राज तेरे सभी खोल देगी अभी, इन लबों पे जो मुस्कान है।
अजनबी मुझको इतना बता, दिल मेरा क्यों परेशान है।
कैसे बताऊं मेरी धड़कनों को बनाया है किसने दीवाना।
बेगाने को अपना कहने लगी मैं, बना मेरा अपना बेगाना।
हाँ, कैसे बताऊं मेरी धड़कनों को बनाया है किसने दीवाना।
बेगाने को अपना कहने लगी मैं, बना मेरा अपना बेगाना।
प्यार की हर घड़ी मुश्किलों की लड़ी, ये ना समझो ये आसान है।
अजनबी मुझको इतना बता, दिल मेरा क्यों परेशान है। देख के तुझको ऐसा लगे जैसे बरसों की पहचान है।
कितनी भोली है तू, कितनी नादान है, दिल की बातों से अनजान है।
अजनबी मुझको इतना बता, ला 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 ला।
The vocals of Udit Narayan with singing legend Asha Bhosle from the film Pyar To Hona Hi Tha of 1998 with music by Jatin Lalit. Listeners, you will no doubt agree that the music of the 90s was so melodious, and every track was just successful from the early 90s onwards. I think Hindi film music hit slight slump in the 1980s with just some very trashy type of songs, but at the same time there were some really good ones as well. And obviously during the course of these shows I will explore some of that music which was somewhat underrated. Now in particular I find that this particular album is an extremely underrated album, but the songs are absolutely superb. I present to you my next track from that film Maya Memsab with the music direction of Hridaynath Mangeshkar and the vocals of the Nightingale herself.
एक हसी निगाह का दिल पे साया है, एक हसी निगाह का दिल पे साया है। जादू है जुनून है, कैसी माया है, ये माया है। एक हसी निगाह का दिल पे साया है, जादू है जुनून है, कैसी माया है, ये माया है। कभी दिल बड़ा मिले अगर चूम कर उठाइए खूब देखभाल कर जो कोई पूछ ले तो क्या राह से उठाया है एक हंसी निगाह का दिल पे साया है एक हंसी निगाह का दिल पे साया है जादू है जुनून है कैसी माया है ये माया है ये पर्दा क्यों गिराया है एक हंसी निगाह का दिल पे साया है एक हंसी निगाह का दिल पे साया है जादू है जुनून है कैसी माया है ये माया है
The vocals of Lata Mangeshkar singing for Deepa Sahi in the film Maya Memsab, and as weeks go by I will be playing you more songs from this underrated soundtrack. In fact, it's one of my favourite soundtracks from the year 1993. You're listening to BHF Radio. My name is Divash and you have my company for the next 2 hours and 8 minutes, where I present my next segment now of my favourite part of this show. So every week I present interviews carefully sourced of my favourite actors and actresses, just to give you that little bit more insight of their career history. This week I present to you none other than Akshay Khanna. And Khanna started his career with the film Himalay Putra, directed by Pankaj Parashar and produced by Vinod Khanna, co-starring two British actresses, Anjala Zaveri and Isha, I can't remember her surname, but I will come back to you on that. But the film wasn't a great success, but it had brilliant music, and in all fairness, it had a really great storyline to it. It starred Vinod Khanna with Hema Malini in cameos as well, and at the same time, it was a great film. And I have this memory where I actually went to see this film purely to see Akshay Khanna, and I felt that this guy has so much potential. I present you a recent interview with this fading star who has just returned to the arc lights, and his acting can only improve day by day. But when there was a successful actor sharing the same name as him, just with his name with an E at the end, why did he continue to use the same name?
You know, I had asked my father this many times as to why my name was spelled the way it was spelled, and there was a specific reason that he had given me, and he gave it to me on 2 or 3 occasions.
Okay.
And I can't remember it.
What are you saying?
Yeah. So my mom's gone as well, my dad's gone as well, so I really don't know who else to ask. There was a very logical and it was got nothing to do with astrology or numerology or anything. It's my birth name.
Right, right.
So, but there was a specific reason, and it does mean something that AKSHAY does not. I think so.
Okay.
I think so. But we'll have to Google that. it's on my birth certificate. There's no juggling or changing of name or changing of spelling or anything like that. That's my name.
Akshay Khanna justifying the spelling of his name, Akshay with an E. You're listening to BHF Radio. This is a BHF Radio Divash's Bollywood Bites special in conversation with Akshay Khanna, and I'd like to present my first song of Akshay Khanna from the film Ab Laut Chale, produced and directed by Rishi Kapoor, and at the same time also picturized on Aishwarya Rai with Akshay Khanna.
दुल्हन सी सजी धरती खुला वो आसमां हो दुल्हन सी सजी धरती खुला वो आसमां
बुलाता है हमें फिर वो चाहत का जहां
अब लौट चले हो अब लौट चले अनजान था मैं नादान था मैं तेरे प्यार को जो न समझ पाया तूने इतना बेचैन किया मैं तेरे पास चला आया
तेरी सांसें मेरा जीवन मेरे दिल में तेरा घर है जरा देखे कोई इसको ये जन्नत से भी सुंदर है
बिना तेरे नहीं चैना यहाँ अब लौट चले हो अब लौट चले
लौट चले अब लौट चले एक पल के लिए एक दिन के लिए ना दूर मैं तुझसे जाऊंगी तेरी पलकों की इन गलियों में सपनों की सेज सजाऊंगी
तुझे देखूं तुझे चाहूं तेरी खुशबू में खो जाऊं यही मेरी तमन्ना है तेरी बाहों में सो जाऊं
दर्द दिल नहीं सहना यहाँ अब लौट चले अब लौट चले
अब लौट चले अब लौट चले चले
The vocals of Udit Narayan with Alka Yagnik from RK Films' 1999 release Aab Lot Chale, starring Akshay Khanna opposite Aishwarya Rai, produced by RK Films and directed by the late Rishi Kapoor. You're listening to BHF Radio. My name is Divash and I'll be with you up until 1 p.m. this afternoon, and here we pay tribute to Akshay Khanna and his career. And listeners, do observe his wit and repartee with the interviewer, where he answers questions about his everyday life.
You know, a lot of people we speak to in the films, they always make it seem like what they're doing now was an accident. That's not something they always thought of. You're the only person I've come across who says that when you were a teenager, you knew you wanted to be a movie star.
Oh, much before then.
Much before teenage.
Yeah. Always. I always knew that this is what I wanted to do. But more than what I wanted to do, it was more of what I could do. I never saw myself being able to do anything else other than be an actor.
And where did you find that out from? Being on stage perhaps in school when you did plays and stuff, or?
I think it was more observing my father, because I spent a lot of time with him as a kid, going to work with him.
You'd go on sets?
Yeah, a lot. I think that influenced me a lot. I did a little bit of stuff on stage in school, amateur stuff. And I'm not a fan of stage. I don't like it. I have stage fright, and I had it even then. Somehow I always felt that this was the right fit for me.
So, listeners, this is BHF Radio. You're listening to a live interview with Akshay Khanna, son of Vinod Khanna, who was the baddie turned goodie from Pop Boilers of the 70s, from Mera Gaon Mera Desh, and followed by more brilliant films like Hera Feri, Muqaddar Ka Sikandar, and then Vinod Khanna himself took a retirement into Osho for the best part of 6-7 years, only to return back to the arc lights and re-establish himself as a film star. And then once he had re-established himself, he brought his son Akshay Khanna into the industry. You're listening to BHF Radio. My name is Divash, and you will have my company up until 1 p.m. this afternoon. And I present my next song from a particular favourite film of mine, which starred Vinod Khanna opposite Madhuri Dixit and Govinda. It's the film Mahasangram.
मेरे जिगर का टुकड़ा मेरी जान था, मेरा सपना मेरे दिल का वो अरमान था। वो जो बिछड़ा, वो जो बिछड़ा मेरी हर खुशी खा गई। मैं जी रहा हूँ लेकिन जिंदगी खो गई। मैं जी रहा हूँ लेकिन जिंदगी खो गई।
कभी खुशी की सुबह, कभी गम की शाम है। घुट घुट के जीना तो बुज़दिलों का काम है।
The vocals of Alka Yagnik, picturized on Madhuri Dixit opposite Vinod Khanna from the 1990 smash hit Maha Sangram. Music by Anand Milan and lyrics by Sameer. You're listening to BHF Radio, and this is a special segment in conversation with the son of the protagonist of this song, Akshay Khanna.
Dil Chahta Hai, would that be correct?
What do you
In the sense that you were actually cast for the lead role. I mean, actually all three are leads, but you were cast for Amir's role. You were going to play Akash, and you ended up playing Siddharth. Is that true?
No, I was the first person to hear the script out of all the three of us. And when I first read it, the role that I wanted to instinctively play was Amir's role.
Okay.
And that's not the role that Farhan wanted me to play. And so when I told him that this was the only one that I was willing to do, I think he was a little disappointed. And then he didn't come to me for a while. And then he came back to me and said, look, I mean, I know this is what you wanted to do, but this is the role that I've written for you. And so will you please consider it again? And so I did. I heard it again and again and again and again, till I was convinced that, yeah, what Farhan was saying was right and I was wrong. And so then I did that.
I mean, it does suit better with your personality in the sense of shy, reserved. That's really who you play.
But acting has got nothing to do with your personality.
Right. Would you be more comfortable being that Akash from?
No, I would have been equally comfortable playing either, all any of the roles.
Right.
It's not what I'm comfortable doing. I mean, if I'm comfortable doing all three, what was important is what the director saw me in. And I think that choice was far more correct than my choice.
Right.
Casting is very important.
Right.
And I think his casting choices were far better than what I had thought of. Because as an actor, you're always coming from a point of greed. And at that point in time, I felt maybe that character had more flesh on it, but I was wrong.
रास्ते में कैसी ठोकर मैंने खाई, टूटे ख्वाब सारे एक मायूसी है छाई, हर खुशी सो गई, जिंदगी खो गई, तुमको जो प्यार किया मैंने तो सजा में पाई, तन्हाई तन्हाई, मीलों है फैली हुई तन्हाई, तन्हाई तन्हाई, मीलों है फैली हुई तन्हाई। टूटे सपनों के शीशे चुभते हैं इन आँखों में, ख्वाब में देखा था एक आंचल मैंने अपने हाथों में, अब टूटे सपनों के शीशे चुभते हैं इन आँखों में, कल कोई था यहीं अब कोई भी नहीं, बनके नागिन जैसे है सांसों में लहराई, तन्हाई तन्हाई, पलकों पे कितने आंसू है लाई, तन्हाई तन्हाई, पलकों पे कितने आंसू है लाई। ऐसी उम्मीद कि मैंने जो ऐसे नाकाम हुई, दूर बनाई थी मंजिल तो रास्ते में ही शाम हुई, क्यों ऐसी उम्मीद कि मैंने जो ऐसे नाकाम हुई, दूर बनाई थी मंजिल तो रास्ते में ही शाम हुई, अब कहाँ जाऊं मैं, किसको समझाऊं मैं, क्या मैंने चाहा था और क्यों किस्मत में आई, तन्हाई तन्हाई, जैसे अंधेरों की हो गहराई। दिल के रास्ते में कैसी ठोकर मैंने खाई, टूटे ख्वाब सारे।
From the film Dil Chahta Hai, starring Amir Khan, Akshay Khanna with Saif Ali Khan. This film redefined the dynamics of modern day Hindi cinema. You're listening to BHF Radio. My name is Divash and the time is 11:16 AM, and this is a special segment paying tribute to Akshay Khanna.
Do you have memories of Dil Chahta Hai? Or
oh yeah, very fond memories of it.
Thank God you remember something. Thank you.
But I have fond memories in as much as it was a very happy time in my life. We call it the journey, right? So what's the journey going to be like? Okay, I like the script, I like this, I like that, but what's the journey going to be like? So the journey is very important because you spend so much time with this bunch of people, and so if the journey is going to be unpleasant, no matter what the outcome is, that's always a bummer.
Right.
But if the journey is going to be good, that's a big benefit. So that was a great journey.
But during that journey, did you get a sense that this is turning out to be what would be quote unquote a turning point for films in a certain way?
There's no way of...
right.
I mean, you do get a sense you're working on something that will end up being of a certain quality. But what the destiny of that product is anyone's guess.
Right. Amir Khan actually turns up in your life quite often in terms of casting. Here, of course, because that's the role that you would have loved to play, but that's the one that Amir played. Is it true that...
But not anymore.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
Of course not. No, we loved you in that film. Everyone did. And
Thank you.
Everyone remembers that character so well. Okay. Tare Zameen Par, did Amol Gupte approach you for the lead character?
No, he didn't. He approached Amir because he was a friend of Amir's and said that, I really want to narrate this story to Akshay. I don't know him. You've just worked with him in Dil Chahta Hai, so can you call him and tell him that I want to narrate him a script? So Amir, being Amir, said that, I can't recommend a script unless I hear it first. So make me hear it, and if I like it, I'll tell Akshay.
Right.
And he liked it so much that he ended up doing it. And then one day I was shooting at one of these studios, I don't know, Mehboob I think it was. And Amir was also shooting on one of the floors. So I just went to his van to say hi, and then he was like, oh, you know what? This happened and I didn't allow him to come to you. I did the film myself. So I said, okay, no problem.
He didn't just do the film, he made his directorial debut with that movie.
Yeah, he made his directorial debut.
Was that a miss, according to you, as an actor? Would
No.
it have satisfied you?
I don't think I could have done a better job than Amir. He was superb. So it was good that destiny kind of took him.
Now, Akshay Khanna takes his time when selecting the correct role. In fact, it is rumoured within the Hindi film industry that a lot of film directors think twice before approaching Akshay because he appears to be a rather moody and difficult character. What did he have to say to this?
But a lot of people feel apprehensive before approaching you, at least they tend to say so. In a sense, is that...
That's
not true. You have said no to a lot of parts. I mean, of course, now you'll say you don't remember them. Like, I know you said no to Qurban, for instance.
So what?
I'm saying, do you remember any other parts that just pure trivia for us?
I've said no to a lot of things. But I've also said yes to a lot of things that other actors have said no to.
Right.
So it works both ways.
When you read the films you've done and the years, the one thing that you notice at least twice or thrice, which is not true for any mainstream...
Taken big gaps.
When you're not acting, are there other interests that you have that you pursue that keep you busy?
No. For any actor, I would imagine, but for me especially, not working is the hardest part of being an actor. It is, for me, a very difficult time when I'm not working. It's depression time. So it's not something that I look forward to 6 months off or a year off. I'm not like that at all. It's exactly the opposite. But somehow destiny has played its cards in such a way that I've taken certain breaks. I mean, forced breaks.
Okay.
Not by choice. They never have been by choice, and they never will in the future. It's a very hard time when you're not getting material that you connect with for an extended period of time.
Right.
Yeah, for 2-3 months, that's fine. Especially in the Hindi film industry, because there's such few actors and there's so much work.
Right.
But there have been those times in my life where I have not connected with anything that I wanted to do.
Presenting this magnificent song composed by A.R. Rahman, picturized on Aishwarya Rai with Akshay Khanna in that amazing Subhash Kai musical Dal.
धागा
से मीठा इश्क इश्क, इमली से खट्टा इश्क इश्क, गुड़ से मीठा इश्क इश्क, इमली से खट्टा इश्क इश्क, वादा ये पक्का इश्क इश्क, धागा ये कच्चा इश्क इश्क, इश्क बिना क्या जीना यारो, इश्क बिना क्या मरना यारो, इश्क बिना क्या जीना यारो, इश्क बिना क्या मरना यारो, गुड़ से मीठा इश्क इश्क, इमली से खट्टा इश्क इश्क, गुड़ से मीठा इश्क इश्क, इमली से खट्टा इश्क इश्क।
इश्क बिना क्या मरना यारा, इश्क बिना क्या जीना। नीचे इश्क है, ऊपर रब है, इन दोनों के बीच में सब है। नीचे इश्क है, ऊपर रब है, इन दोनों के बीच में सब है। एक नहीं सौ बातें कर लो, सौ बातों का एक मतलब है। रब सबसे सोना इश्क इश्क, रब से भी सोना इश्क, रब सबसे सोना इश्क इश्क, रब से भी सोना इश्क।
इश्क बिना क्या जीना यारो, इश्क बिना क्या मरना यारो, इश्क बिना क्या जीना यारो, इश्क बिना क्या मरना यारो, गुड़ से मीठा इश्क इश्क, इमली से खट्टा इश्क इश्क, गुड़ से मीठा इश्क इश्क, इमली से खट्टा इश्क इश्क। हीराना पन्ना इश्क इश्क, बस एक तमन्ना इश्क इश्क, हीराना पन्ना इश्क इश्क, बस एक तमन्ना इश्क इश्क, बस एक तमन्ना इश्क इश्क, बस एक तमन्ना
इश्क बिना क्या जीना।
बस एक तमन्ना।
इश्क है क्या ये किसको पता, ये इश्क है क्या सबको पता। ये प्रेम नगर अनजान डगर, साजन का घर का किसको खबर। छोटी सी उम्र ये लंबा सफर, ये इश्क है क्या ये किसको पता। ये दर्द है या दर्दों की दवा, ये कोई सनम या आप खुदा, ये कोई सनम या आप खुदा।
इश्क बिना क्या मरना यारा, इश्क बिना क्या जीना।
तुमने इश्क का नाम सुना है, हमने इश्क किया है। फूलों का गुलशन इश्क इश्क कांटों का दामन इश्क फूलों का गुलशन इश्क इश्क कांटों का दामन इश्क
From the film Dal of 1999, picturized on Akshay Khanna and Aishwarya Rai. You're listening to BHF Radio, and this is Divash's Bollywood Bites. The time is now coming up to 11:32 AM. In conversation with Akshay Khanna. What does Akshay Khanna do in his spare time?
But do you have other interests? I know that you play squash a lot.
Yeah, but you can't play for 3 years, no?
Can't play squash every day.
Can't play for 3 years, no.
Right. So what? I mean, you're going to sit and wait like, man, this sucks. Or would you watch movies? You'll be a movie buff for sure.
Now, I'm not going to tell you what my day looks like when I'm not working.
Right.
It's just, why would you even want to know?
One can see that Akshay Khanna is getting quite irked with the interviewer because he is very, very territorial about his personal space. And this is what makes this very sensitive, intense actor so effective. And the fact that he keeps himself to himself is what makes him as an actor shine even more.
I'm interested to know if there's anything good stuff that you... Maybe there are certain actors that you follow and probably learn a lot more from them.
No.
To replenish your, creative...
But that I'm doing all the time.
You're doing all the time?
Yeah, that I'm doing all the time.
What exactly was the reason why you took a break?
I wasn't getting material that I liked.
Okay.
I didn't want to do anything that was offered to me. So I decided not to do anything as opposed to do something that my heart wasn't in it. Simple. Nothing really complicated.
You lost your mom last year and the year before that, your dad. Did that have a huge impact on you as a person, like as it would be for anyone?
Of course it would impact anyone, yeah. It's a deeply sad time. Very sad time. Everybody has to go through it. Everybody has to lose their parents at some point in their life. And it's always good that it happens that way, not the other way around, where a parent loses a kid. That would be even worse. So yeah, it's something everybody has to go through, but it's tough.
We know nothing about your mother. Could you just
That's
tell
the way
us
she wanted it.
That's how she wanted it?
Yeah.
Were you close to her?
Very.
Between mom and dad, who were you closer to?
I think I was close to them both, but in different ways.
Okay.
I would say that I was fortunate that I had a very fulfilling relationship with both my parents. It doesn't really matter which generation you were born in. Like sometimes people say, oh, in the older generation, especially fathers, they tended to have a very kind of formal relationship with their children.
Right.
Amrish Puri kind of fathers, yeah. I don't think that's necessarily true. I mean, no matter which generation you're a part of, having a good, solid, fulfilling relationship with your parents is not always very common. I feel very grateful to have had a very fulfilling relationship with both my parents. I don't know, somehow I'm a little apprehensive about talking about, especially people who've been in public life for decades. If there is a side of them that they have wanted people to know about, I think that they would have managed that in their own lifetime.
True.
I don't know if there's any aspect of him or his life or whatever that I'd like to throw any light upon, which maybe he didn't.
Up close and personal with Akshay Khanna. You're listening to BHF Radio, and I am commemorating Akshay Khanna's 47th birthday, which he celebrated on Monday, the 28th of March just gone, with this interview where he talks about his personal life. And one can observe that Akshay Khanna, he only answers the questions posed to him But at the same time, I felt that this interviewer was getting a little bit more too close, and I really liked the answers that Akshay Khanna was giving him back. He was purely being himself, he was correcting the interviewer, and to be fair, that's what makes him stand out the most. I'd like to present the next song from the film Hamraz of 2002. Music by Himesh Reshamya and the vocals of Kumar Sanu with Alka Yagnik. The film Hamraz.
जाना प्यार निभाना भूल न जाना दूर न जाना ओ जाने जाना प्यार निभाना तुम हो तुम ही हो तुम हो तुम ही हो सनम मेरे हमराज सनम मेरे हमराज कच्चे धागे से नाजुक मोहब्बत ये टूट जाए ना करना हिफाजत है कच्चे धागे से नाजुक मोहब्बत ये टूट जाए ना करना हिफाजत दो राह पे लाके फाका तोड़ नहीं देना तुम हो तुम ही हो सनम मेरे हमराज सनम मेरे हमराज
भूल न जाना दूर न जाना ओ जाने जाना प्यार निभाना तुम ही हो सनम मेरे हमराज सनम मेरे हमराज
सनम मेरे हमराज
सनम मेरे हमराज
Bobby Deol, Amisha Patel and Akshay Khanna from the 2002 film Hamraz. Playback by Kumar Sanu with Alka Yagnik. And you are listening to BHF Radio. This is Divash's Bollywood Bites and I will be on air up until 1 p.m. this afternoon. The time is coming up to 11:42 and you're listening to a live interview with Akshay Khanna, up close and personal. And this next element of the interview is where the interviewer questions Akshay about his father dropping his success within films after 7 or 8 years in the industry and giving it all up to become a gardener for the Osho movement within Rajneesh.
When he was at the peak of his career,
Right.
is when he left it all to join Osho.
Correct.
Right? Now you were been probably 4 or 5 at that time?
5.
5. But did you wonder, like, who is this person that my father's left everything for to go and live in an ashram?
Well, one doesn't look at it like that. No?
Okay.
As a 5-year-old, one doesn't articulate it that well in one's mind or whatever. No, I don't think Osho had anything to do with my thoughts about why my dad wasn't there.
Right.
I think that came much later as one grows older, once 14, 15, 16, whatever. Then one starts maybe learning or listening or reading about the person who
Influenced your father so
influenced
much.
your father so much
Right.
that he decided not only to leave his family, to take sannyas. Sannyas only doesn't really only mean leaving your family. It means giving up your life in totality. Family is a part of your life.
Right.
So taking up sannyas is a life-changing decision, which he felt that he needed to take at that time. But as a 5-year-old, it's impossible to understand it. I can understand it now.
You can?
Of course.
In what sense?
In what sense means that something must have moved him so deeply inside that he felt that that kind of decision was worth it for him, which is an incredibly difficult decision to take for anybody.
Right.
But especially if you have everything in life, where life doesn't look as though there's much more that you can have.
Right, you achieved everything that you possibly can.
Right, and then to give it all up, something has to move you very, very basic, a very basic kind of a fault line, earthquake has to happen within oneself for one to make that decision. And then not only make that decision, but also stick by it. You see, one can make the decision and say, oh no, 3 doesn't suit me, let's go back. But that didn't happen with him. I mean, circumstances in America with Osho and with the commune over there, it being disbanded and then, having to leave,
Right.
friction with the government of the United States. That was the reason that he came back. Otherwise, the plan was never to come back. The plan was that's the life I've chosen till the end. And that's a tough one to make.
Up close and personal with Akshay Khanna, where he describes when his father took sannyas to join the Osho movement. And this happened around the year 1980. One of the final films that Vinod Khanna completed before giving up his worldly riches was the film Qurbani. And my next song is from that brilliant film with Zinat Aman and Vinod Khanna together with Firoz Khan, who also produced and directed this brilliant film with the vocals of Manharu Das and Asha Bhosle.
हम तुम्हें चाहते हैं ऐसे। हम तुम्हें चाहते हैं ऐसे। मरने वाला कोई, मरने वाला कोई जिंदगी चाहता हो जैसे। हम तुम्हें चाहते हैं ऐसे। रूठ जाओ अगर तुम तो क्या हो, रूठ जाओ अगर तुम तो क्या हो। पल में ऐसे लगे, पल में ऐसे लगे जिस्म से जान जैसे जुदा हो। हम तुम्हें चाहते हैं ऐसे। मरने वाला कोई, मरने वाला कोई जिंदगी चाहता हो जैसे। हम तुम्हें चाहते हैं ऐसे।
जरा पूछो तो मेरा इरादा, जरा पूछो तो मेरा इरादा। मुझे किससे है प्यार, मेरे दिल का है कौन शहजादा। जरा पूछो तो मेरा इरादा। मेरे ख्वाबों में जो सज रहा है, मेरे ख्वाबों में जो सज रहा है, वो खुदा तो नहीं पर जमाने में सबसे जुदा है। मेरे ख्वाबों में जो सज रहा है।
जिंदगी बिन तुम्हारे अधूरी, जिंदगी बिन तुम्हारे अधूरी। तुमको पालूं अगर, तुमको पालूं अगर हर कमी मेरी हो जाए पूरी। जिंदगी बिन तुम्हारे अधूरी। ले चलेंगे तुम्हें हम वहाँ पर, ले चलेंगे तुम्हें हम वहाँ पर। तन्हाई सनम, तन्हाई सनम शहनाई बन जाए जहाँ पर। हम तुम्हें चाहते हैं ऐसे। हम तुम्हें चाहते हैं ऐसे। मरने वाला कोई, मरने वाला कोई जिंदगी चाहता हो जैसे। हम तुम्हें चाहते हैं ऐसे।
I've read a lot of Osho. I've heard a lot of his discourses and seen hundreds and thousands of videos of it. I love him.
Oh, you do?
Oh, I love him, yeah.
Like you could join a community. I mean, it still exists. Osho ashrams are still.
I don't know if sannyas is something that I could do. That doesn't mean I can't enjoy his discourses or respect his intellect or his oratory skills or his way of thinking or whatever. I have deep respect for him. No, everybody has their own destiny. You don't have to compare me to my father all the time.
Sure.
I think, you know.
Was that an apprehension that you ever had before entering films?
Which
the
is?
fact that you're Vinod Khanna's son, and we've all loved him over years, and you will be compared whether you like it or not.
I don't remember thinking about it a lot. I don't remember having those fears or those thoughts. No, and I'm not saying it in an arrogant way.
Right.
I'm just saying it never happened to me. I was never fearful of that. It's not something I dwelled upon.
Right.
At all.
But did you see that happening though once you did join films?
No.
It did. They took you for who you were.
I think so. But I think it happens to most young actors, whether they come from film families or they come from from outside the industry. I think when an audience accepts, they just accept you for who you are. I don't think that connection. I think that connection is overrated.
Okay.
Even from an audience point of view. I mean, they'll have that connection in their mind, but I don't think they're accepting you as a face, like an accepted face. Like, okay, we'll watch this guy. I don't think that's got anything to do with who your father is or who your mother is or who your uncle is.
But there's a full movie industry that sort of would want you to say be the action hero because Vinod Khanna was. Was that something that that somebody would keep in mind, offering you a part, for instance, a producer perhaps?
I don't know, because I've been offered very few action films. I always tell my producers even now that I'd love to do more action stuff. Yeah. I've really done very, very little action in my career. And but that's just one or two in a long period of time.
Right.
And I don't know. I've always felt that I have the physicality to be able to do a good action movie. It's one of the genres that has kind of eluded me for a long time. I don't know why.
But you've actively sought it.
Well, I'm not a writer. I don't write my own films, so I've encouraged or I've asked my directors and producers to think about it for me, in the future. Write something.
You have.
Yeah, I have.
Right.
Of course, all the time.
Right.
It's never really come about as yet. I'm sure it'll happen in the future.
Right.
You're listening to BHF Radio. My name is Divash and I'll be with you up until 1 p.m. this afternoon. And my next presentation is this wonderful song sung by Abhijit, singing for Akshay Khanna opposite Madhuri Dixit from the 1998 classic Mohabbat.
जाने जाना मैंने तुझे प्यार किया सारी दुनिया के आगे इकरार किया तुझे देखा बस तेरा हो गया तेरी मीठी मीठी बातों में खो गया मुझे रात को नींद न आए मुझे रात को नींद न आए कि तेरी पल पल याद सताए बता मैं क्या करूं मुझे रात को नींद न आए कि तेरी पल पल याद सताए बता मैं क्या करूं
क्यों मेरे पीछे आए कैसा पागल आशिक है तू
राज जिया के खोल दे तेरा क्या है इरादा बोल दे मैं आया यहाँ फिर तेरे लिए मेरी जान है हाजिर तेरे लिए दुनिया से तू घबराए मेरी जान निकलती जाए पता मैं क्या करूं मेरी जान निकलती जाए बता मैं क्या करूं
छोड़ मेरी बाहें
पागल हो क्या
छोड़ मेरी बाहें संग तेरे नहीं आना
जाना, छोड़ दे यूं करना बहाना, छोड़ दे तेरी इतनी इनायत, चाहिए मुझे सिर्फ मोहब्बत, चाहिए चाहत की आग जलाए, चाहत की आग जलाए कि तेरा दर्द मुझे तड़पाए, बता मैं क्या करूं, चाहत की आग जलाए कि तेरा दर्द मुझे तड़पाए, बता मैं क्या करूं।
कुछ भी कर ले,
परमिशन है क्या?
कुछ भी कर ले, कुछ भी कर ले, दिल न तुझे मैं दूंगी, जान के जान गवाऊंगी, ना प्यार का रोग मिलूंगी, मुझे अब जाने दे, मुझे अब जाने दे, मुझे अब जाने दे, ओए मुझे अब जाने दे।
Oh baby, don't break my heart.
I will,
Oh baby, don't break my heart.
I will,
Baby, don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. Don't break my heart. मेरी जाने जाना मैंने तुझे प्यार किया, सारी दुनिया के आगे इकरार किया, तुझे देखा बस तेरा हो गया, तेरी मीठी मीठी बातों में खो गया, मुझे रात को नींद न आए, मुझे रात को नींद न आए कि तेरी पल पल याद सताए, तो सुन ले सोनिए, मुझे रात को नींद न आए कि तेरी पल पल याद सताए, तो सुन ले सोनिए।
प्यार नहीं करना,
करूंगा करूंगा करूंगा।
प्यार नहीं करना, प्यार नहीं करना, क्यों मेरे पीछे आए, कैसा पागल आशिक है तू, कौन तुझे समझाए, न कर दीवानापन, न कर दीवानापन, न कर दीवानापन, न कर दीवानापन।
Oh baby, don't break my heart. Oh baby, don't break my heart.
Why?
Oh baby, don't break my heart.
Okay,
Oh baby, don't break my heart.
I won't, I won't,
Oh baby, don't break my heart.
I won't, I won't.
Oh baby, don't break my heart, don't break my heart, don't break my heart.
It's always important to have a good chemistry with your director. It's the most important thing. And when a director finds that in an actor and an actor finds that in a director, it's very compelling. You don't want to lose that chemistry because it works. I've had it with many directors.
Like who else?
I would like to think most of them. But that doesn't always necessarily translate into more than one film. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. When you're working together, to have that chemistry and that understanding is very important.
Up close and personal with Akshay Khanna, who discusses his career, his father's films, and his day-to-day life. You're listening to BHF Radio, and this is Divash's Bollywood Bites, which will be on for just under another hour, where I will be giving you the best of your favourite Bollywood entertainment, including this special segment paying tribute to Akshay Khanna's birthday and the late great actor, his father Vinod Khanna. Now, there was one film produced by Anil Kapoor in the year 2007 from which I really appreciated Akshay Khanna's acting, and this was the film Gandhi, My Father. Now, this film explores the troubled relationship between Mahatma Gandhi, played by Darshan Jariwala, and our one and only Akshay Khanna, playing Harilal Gandhi. Let's see what he had to say about his experiences within this film.
You called Gandhi, My Father, your toughest film. Does it still remain your toughest film? Or at least the most important film, actually, once you said. You said it's the most important film of my career. Of course, you don't remember, I'm just saying that you did.
Yeah, but one says certain things in a certain context, at a certain point in time. That doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to happen. That's going to stay, as the gospel truth for me for the rest of my life.
Right. Was it a tough part, though? Was it a tough part for you to play a person who has lived in the shadow of the greatest known Indian, and to have very little material to actually base it on in terms of photographs, in terms of also the story itself? I mean, was it a tough one? Was it?
It was a tough role. It was a tough role. When I say tough, What I really mean is, at the end of, when the director says pack up, how tired are you feeling?
Right.
That's how I judge how tough a role is. If I'm really exhausted, day after day after day on the same film, then it's sapping a lot from you. It's taking a lot from you. If you
mentally
feel
exhausted,
emotionally exhausted.
Right.
I view those kind of roles as tough, or having taken a little extra from you, which you might not necessarily have to give to 5 or 10 other films that you've done.
Right.
That's what I mean.
You're listening to BHF Radio. My name is Divash, and this is a special episode of Divash's Bollywood Bites, whereby I am paying tribute to Akshay Khanna, who describes his career journey, his father, the late Vinod Khanna, and his films. And as he mentioned just now, he found it incredibly difficult performing in the film Gandhi My Father, which was produced by Anil Kapoor. And with Anil Kapoor in mind, I present my next song, and that is from the film Lamhe of 1991 opposite Sri Devi. The vocals of Hariharan with Lata Mangeshkar.
सपना मेरा सच हो गया कभी मैं कहूँ कभी तुम कहो कि मैंने तुम्हें ये दिल दे दिया
कभी मैं सुनूं कभी तुम सुनो कि मैंने तुम्हें ये दिल दे दिया
कभी मैं कहूँ कभी तुम कहो कि मैंने तुम्हें ये दिल दे दिया पास पास हम साथ साथ यूं बैठे रहे एक दूसरे से यही कहते रहे
पास पास हम साथ साथ यूं बैठे रहें एक दूसरे से यही कहते रहें
कभी मैं कहूँ कभी तुम कहो कि मैंने तुम्हें ये दिल दे दिया
कभी मैं सुनूं कभी तुम सुनो कि मैंने तुम्हें ये दिल दे दिया
चलते रहे उड़ते रहे हम बहते रहे चलते रहे उड़ते रहे हम बहते रहे
एक दूसरे से यही कहते रहे
कभी मैं कहूँ कभी तुम कहो कि मैंने तुम्हें ये दिल दे दिया
कभी मैं सुनूं कभी तुम सुनो कि मैंने तुम्हें दिल दे दिया सहते रहें एक दूसरे से यही कहते रहें
कभी मैं कहूँ कभी तुम कहो कि मैंने तुम्हें ये दिल दे दिया
कभी मैं सुनूं तुम सुनो कि मैंने तुम्हें ये दिल दे दिया
कि मैंने तुम्हें ये दिल दे दिया
कि मैंने तुम्हें ये दिल दे दिया
The beautiful vocals of A. Hariharan and Lata Mangeshkar singing for Anil Kapoor and Sridevi from the 1991 Yash Chopra film Lamhe. And the subject of today's segment, Akshay Khanna, acted under the production of Anil Kapoor in the film Gandhi My Father, where he describes this to be a strenuous role. Another film that he really does describe as being a strenuous job was the film Section 375 of 2019. Let's see what Akshay Khanna had to say about the film Section 375.
But that primarily not for anything else, it was just that page after page after page of dialogue.
Right.
You know, it's just never ending dialogue,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Or when a character is that verbose, so there's not much else you can do as an actor. There are not that many pauses, there are not that many cuts. It's just dialogue after dialogue after dialogue after dialogue, and so that's a completely different kind of a experience which I haven't done before as an actor. So that tested me a lot on that front. That aspect of that kind of acting, which is different from doing practically anything else as an actor, because you know, a cut or a pause, or, you know, gives you something else to do. You know, I don't know if I'm able to explain it to you, but if it's just dialogue, then that's a very different kind of it's just different to execute.
Section 375 is a courtroom drama which has the ability to grip audiences as long as it is made with finesse and technique. Now, Section 375 scores on both counts because it unfolds frame by frame, keeping one guessing right till the very last frame. And the film opens with some very profound words from Tarun Saluja, played by Akshay Khanna, who plays a defense lawyer at the pinnacle of his career and known for getting his clients out of extremely complex situations. He declares quite categorically that law is above justice, a theme that runs throughout the entire course of the film until we as audiences also find ourselves wondering whether we disagree or agree with him. and the story revolves around a rape allegation by a lower middle class costume design assistant on the sets of a famous film director's film. And the exchange in question is played out at the very start of the film. Or is it?
क्रिमिनल डिफेंस लॉयर से एक सवाल हमेशा पूछा जाता है. वी लॉयर्स कॉल इट डी क्वेश्चन. आप क्रिमिनल्स को, स्कम ऑफ सोसाइटी को डिफेंड करते हैं, रात को नींद कैसे आती है? मैं कहता हूं जैसे कन्फेशन बॉक्स में बैठे प्रीस्ट को आती है. लेट्स से अ मैन कन्फेसेस कि उसने एक क्राइम किया. डज द प्रीस्ट गो टू द पुलिस? नो. वो उसे स्पिरिचुअल गाइडेंस देते, सही डायरेक्शन दिखाते हैं. एक प्रीस्ट की यही सोशल रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी है, सामाजिक जिम्मेदारी है. उसी तरह एक डिफेंस लॉयर की ऑब्लिगेशन है कि वो अपने क्लाइंट को लॉफुली टू द बेस्ट ऑफ हिज एबिलिटी डिफेंड करे, क्योंकि हर अक्यूज का कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल राइट है कि उन्हें प्रॉपर लीगल डिफेंस मिले.
Now, in this film, Akshay Khanna once again proves his sheer brilliance at portraying serious characters with great conviction, especially in his courtroom head-to-head clashes with Richa Chadda, who plays the prosecutor in this case. And these exchanges between the duo end up drawing further attention to the superiority of Akshay Khanna's talent in comparison with the relatively less experienced Richa Chadda. But overall, all the characters are well suited to their roles in the film that tackles some of the most compelling issues of our time, from trial by media to why Delhi has become known as the rape capital of India. This film is a definite recommend watch for anybody who likes to be shaken up by films, for this is one which is certainly not light-hearted. If you get the chance, watch the film Section 375 just for Akshay Khanna's brilliant acting.
ये दाल प्रोसिक्यूटर है. वो जीतना चाहते हैं ताकि तरक्की हो, तनख्वाह बढ़े, एडवोकेट जनरल, सोलिसिटर जनरल बने. ये चावल डिफेंस है. इसको जीतना है ताकि नाम हो, दबदबा हो, लीगल फेज बढ़े. ये जज है. सेशन से हाई से सुप्रीम कोर्ट पहुंचना चाहते हैं, लैंडमार्क जजमेंट्स देना चाहते हैं. और जस्टिस इस दही की तरह सबके जीतने के चक्कर में साइड में पड़ी रह जाती है. हमारे पेशे में आइडियलिज्म, ambition.
If you haven't seen the film Section 375, here is a film which is definitely worth a watch. It is entertaining and you will thoroughly be engaged in this film. Once again, the film is called Section 375, Marzi Ya Zabardasti. You heard it on Divash's Bollywood Bites, live on BHF Radio first.
Actually, like when you've been an actor for like 20 plus years, and also when it comes to, I know you don't like that word, but the fact is you're a star and there are certain mannerisms that come with it. With Section 375, did you think that you had to like get out of that mold, because this is very different from what you've done before? Like you said, a pause, you can have that smile, which is a very Akshay Khanna smile, but you wouldn't have it here.
On the contrary, to be able to engage an audience purely through dialogue, that itself is not easy. And it's a combination of how you're directed and how you perform, but also the direction side is more important. And that's why I felt very satisfied creatively with the way Ajay directed 375, because to kind of impose direction on an actor when it's really not required. And I think he has a very good sense of when to direct an actor and when to not direct, you know, and that's very important. So there are different films, different scenes, different moments, you know, require different things. I don't know if I'm making any sense.
No, you are, absolutely. There is certain things you can do, which frankly, as a viewer, I thought you were the most different in Section 375 from your other roles. And was it because it was dialogue heavy, so you had to just stick with that part in terms of what he's saying, rather than all those things that you otherwise would use to charm an audience?
I get what you're saying, but for me, acting has always been only primarily one thing.
Okay.
Which is being in the moment. Only the last 4-5 years, I've been noticing, like we always do photo shoots for films, right? For your poster, for your all your publicity material and all. We do photo shoots, right? I just don't like the quality of photo shoots. No matter how good the photographer is, how good the person in front of the camera is. And a great alternative is today you can, because everything's digital now, if you remove the frame while the actor is acting, that being in the moment, that doesn't come across in a photo shoot.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying?
I get you. Right.
So if you do a photo shoot of me in the same costume, in the same look, sitting at the same desk, on the same chair, with the same pen in front of you, with the same file in front of you, but it's a photo shoot,
right,
you'll get a different kind of a picture.
Right.
So any actor, if you take out a frame of their scene, okay, you'll always see whether they're in the moment or not.
Right.
Is that actor in the moment? And it's very clear from just one, you just remove one frame and you'll say he's in the moment or he's not in the moment. See, there's a big distinction. So I always now encourage my directors and producers. I say, instead of doing a photo shoot, if you can substitute a photo shoot with one of those frames, and if it works for you, use that instead of doing
a separate photo shoot.
Separate, because it's always more honest.
Right.
The eyes are always more honest.
Would you say that about dubbing as well, as against sync sound? When you're trying to recreate,
but it's not the same thing.
But would you use that analogy for sound as well?
No, it's not the same thing, because in dubbing you're also trying to be in the moment, right? Like you were on set, you're just trying to replicate it.
Right. Because there was much made about over.
No, I do agree with you. I do agree with you. Sync sound is way more honest than dubbing. It has to be, right?
Right.
It has to be. It's like real life is more honest than fiction.
So real life is more honest than fiction. And I'm quite an agreeer of that, because I am going to present my next song based on this theory. Completely unrelated to Akshay Khanna, but I can name 2 films where the audience was pretty much made to be confused between real life and fiction. And those 2 films I am going to suggest are Rab Ne Bana Di Jodi, starring Anushka Sharma opposite Shah Rukh Khan, and the 1978 Raj Kapoor classic Satyam Shivam Sundaram. Now, my argument is very, very simple. How could the one protagonist not recognize their partner because of the fact that their voice was distinct to the look? For example, in the film Rab Ne Bana Di Jodi, Anushka Sharma is married to a very simple looking Shah Rukh Khan. But at the same time, when she goes for her dance rehearsals, she sees a suave, slick Shah Rukh Khan. Yet the voice is the same. The same argument goes with Shashi Kapoor in the film Satyam Shivam Sundaram, who falls obsessively in love with Zinat Aman's singing voice and the look and the disturbing look of her burnt side of her face. And this is something that I could never ever fathom. So, indeed, Akshay Khanna's words are correct. Real life is much, much, much more honest than fiction. And with that in mind, I present my next song from that film, Satyam Shivam Sundaram, a very rare song with the vocals of Nitin Mukesh with Lata Mangeshkar.
वो औरत है तू महबूबा, तू सब कुछ है वो कुछ भी नहीं. वो औरत है तू महबूबा, तू सब कुछ है वो कुछ भी नहीं.
तुम ऐसे उसे पसंद करो, मिल बैठो बातें चंद करो. वो औरत है मैं महबूबा, वो सब कुछ है मैं कुछ भी नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं. वो औरत है मैं महबूबा, वो सब कुछ है मैं कुछ भी नहीं.
मेरे लिए जो
उसके लिए पहेली, मेरे लिए जो प्यार मोहब्बत उसके लिए पहेली। चंपा कैसे भाए उसे जिसके मन बसी चमेली।
उसका दुख है मेरा दुख, मेरी सौतन मेरी सहेली, मेरे बिना अकेले तुम, वो तुम्हारे बिना अकेली। मत ये दीवार बुलंद करो, मिल बैठो बातें चंद करो। वो औरत है मैं महबूबा, वो सब कुछ है मैं कुछ भी नहीं, कुछ भी नहीं। वो औरत है मैं महबूबा, वो सब कुछ है मैं कुछ भी नहीं।
उसका नाम न ले मुझको, नफरत है उसके नाम से।
थक गए हो बेचैन हो तुम, सो जाओ आराम से।
ये रैन मिलन की रहना है,
मिलकर भी दूर ही रहना है।
तूने कितना तरसाया है,
तुमने कितना तड़पाया है।
रूपा क्यों रूप छुपाती है,
ऐसे में शर्म तो आती है।
अब ये घूंघट उठ जाने दो,
कुछ देर यूं ही शर्माने दो।
मुख ढांप लिया क्यों हाथों से,
डर लगता है इन बातों से।
मैं दूंगा अपना नाम तुझे,
तुम कर दोगे बदनाम मुझे।
कुछ पाप नहीं है प्यार है ये,
एक शीशे की दीवार है ये।
गिर जाने दो दीवारों को।
The vocals of Nitin Mukesh and Lata Mangeshkar singing for Shashi Kapoor and Zinat Aman from the 1978 classic Satyam Shivam Sundaram. You're listening to BHF Radio. My name is Divash and I'll be with you for another 35 minutes or so, presenting you the very best in Bollywood entertainment with this 47th birthday special interview with Akshay Khanna. Now my next song also describes this fact against fiction concept, and this song is from that beautiful film of 1993 starring Jackie Shroff, Juhi Chawla and Amrita Singh. Yes, you've guessed it, from the film Aina.
अपनी तकदीर तू देख ले, आईना है मेरा चेहरा। मोहब्बत की हंसी बाजी मैं एक दिन जीत जाऊंगी तेरी आंखों ने जो ख्वाब देखे कभी हाँ तेरी आंखों ने जो ख्वाब देखे कभी उनकी ताबीर तू देख ले उनकी ताबीर तू देख ले आईना है मेरा चेहरा आईना है मेरा चेहरा आदमी आईना नहीं होता वक्त को कुछ मना नहीं होता झूठ की उम्र तब तक होती है जब तलक सच का सामना नहीं होता न टूटेगा कभी साथी ये वादा जिंदगी का है तेरे इस प्यार पे मेरे सिवा अपना किसी का है बांध लेती है जो जिस्म से जान को बांध लेती है जो जिस्म से जान को ऐसी जंजीर तू देख ले ऐसी जंजीर तू देख ले आईना है मेरा चेहरा आईना है मेरा चेहरा
ओ, कोई पर्दा नहीं रखता हकीकत खोल देता है मुझे मालूम है कि आईना सच बोल देता है ये भी सच है कि आईना तो अक्सर फूट जाता है जरा सी ठेस लगती है तो गिर के टूट जाता है जाने मन जाने जा रंग लाई है क्या हो जाने मन जाने जा रंग लाई है क्या अपनी तदबीर तू देख ले अपनी तदबीर तू देख ले
आईना है मेरा चेहरा
A beautiful semi-qawwali with the vocals of Lata Mangeshkar, Asha Bhosle and Suresh Wadkar from the 1993 hit Aina. In conversation with Akshay Khanna, here he describes the importance and the benefits of sync sound.
The realism of sync sound was lost to Hindi cinema for many decades. Millions of performances that have been dubbed for so many decades would have lost a certain edge had they been in sync sound.
You prefer sync sound?
There's no question about it. Yeah. I'm an actor who's worked the majority of my career in dubbing my films. And only in the last say 12 years we've been spoiled with sync sound. I really feel bad for the actors who never had sync sound. Not that they knew the difference because they never experienced it, but I still feel bad for them. So every film has its own journey, but I definitely feel section will age very well. I think future generations of cinema-loving people will definitely feel that one of the really good courtroom dramas that have come out of India.
So there you have it, Akshay Khanna, back up and running, signing films very, very selectively, and yet he came into the limelight He then went into oblivion for a while because he wasn't getting the right scripts, and then he returned, and films like Mom, films like Gandhi My Father, and other films like Shortcut and Section 375, they're all testament that Vinod Khanna's son is here to stay. He's got a good innings ahead of him. Now, I think the most interesting question that even our listeners would have wanted to know is Akshay Khanna's premature balding. How has that impacted him as a person, and how did it impact his career?
It started happening to me at such a young age, and because for me it was like a pianist losing his fingers. It almost felt like that for me in those days. I mean, till you could really come to terms with it, and then it starts bothering you less. It's like, you know, waking up in the morning and reading the paper and saying, "Oh shit, I can't read. What is that? You know, I need glasses."
Right.
It would affect you, right? What is happening to me? My eyes are not working. You know what I'm saying? You know, you might be a sportsman, you might be a cricketer or a footballer, and suddenly you realize you need a knee surgery. So it's heartbreaking, right? You might lose a year or 2 years of your career. So as I said, it's like a pianist losing his fingers. So because the way you look as an actor is very important. And especially this part, I mean, this is still, you can cover it up or whatever you can. At 19, 20, it's devastating. It's heartbreaking, and it can mentally like kill you. It's like anything else. It's like I said, you know, you need glasses. Someone needs glasses. Someone needs something else. Someone needs something else. You know, someone's got a.
Well, there are actors who are much older, and they would wear a toupee or something. That's something that you never did. I mean, when it's not even premature, like so many actors who we know of who are.
But that's fine. I mean, everybody is. You've got their own choices. I mean, it's up to you. I mean, what you want, what you're comfortable with, what you're. What you're happy doing is what you should do.
But did you at some point like think about it, and did it really affect your self-confidence in a certain way as an actor?
I think it did affect my self-confidence a lot as a young actor, more than I'd like to admit, actually. So yeah, definitely.
Now, listeners, I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't too impressed with the way that the anchor of these interviews with Akshay Khanna, the way that he was asking the questions, I did find it very intrusive, and hence the reason I've given my voiceovers in certain areas. But nevertheless, Akshay Khanna gave his responses in the way that he felt apt, and this is why we respect him by nature as a human being, but in the form of his acting as well. So happy birthday to Akshay Khanna, who celebrated his 47th this Monday the 28th of March gone. Now the next part of my show pays tribute to one of the most celebrated actors in the last 40 years of Hindi cinema, the late Rishi Kapoor, who sadly died of leukemia on the 30th of April of 2020. Thursday, the 31st of March, marked the release of his final swan song, the film Sharma Ji Namkeen, a film that he was extremely passionate about and very excited about. In fact, when he went for his treatment to the USA, he was more concerned about completing this film. It is lucky that Paresh Rawal replaced his role in some areas of the film Sharma Ji Namkeen, and I will be reviewing this film after this great track that Rishi Kapoor has performed to from the 1992 musical and film smash hit Deewana.
सोचेंगे तुम्हें प्यार करके नहीं, सोचेंगे तुम्हें प्यार करके नहीं, ये दिल बेकरार करके नहीं, ख्वाबों में छुपाया तुमको, यादों में बसाया तुमको, ख्वाबों में छुपाया तुमको, यादों में बसाया तुमको, मिलोगे हमें तुम जान सोचेंगे तुम्हें प्यार करे के नहीं, ये दिल बेकरार करे के नहीं। लगती हो चांद का एक टुकड़ा, हम कितनी तारीफ करें, देख के तुमको आहें भरे। तुम सा नहीं है कोई प्यारा सनम, प्यारा सनम। सोचेंगे तुम्हें प्यार करके नहीं, ये दिल बेकरार करके नहीं। हे 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 ला 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 हे 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 हे। जिस दिन तुमको देखेगी नजर, जिस दिन तुमको देखेगी नजर, जाने दिल पे होगा क्या असर। रखेंगे तुमको निगाहों में, भर लेंगे तुम्हें बाहों में, जुल्फों को हम सुलझाएंगे, इश्क में दुनिया भुलाएंगे। ये बेकरारी अब तो होगी न कम, होगी न कम। सोचेंगे तुम्हें प्यार करके नहीं, ये दिल बेकरार करके नहीं। ख्वाबों में छुपाया तुमको, यादों में बसाया तुमको, ख्वाबों में छुपाया तुमको, यादों में बसाया तुमको। मिलोगे हमें तुम जानम कहीं ना कहीं, सोचेंगे तुम्हें प्यार करके नहीं, ये दिल बेकरार करके नहीं। हे हे ला ला ला।
The melody of Nadeem Shravan and the voice of Kumar Sanu singing for Rishi Kapoor. And did you know that this song won the Best Filmfare Award for Best Song in the year 1992 for the film Deewana? It had amazing melodies, this film did. Coming back to Rishi Kapoor, I now present my review on his final film Sharma Ji Namkeen. So listeners, it's here, the film Sharma Ji Namkeen, produced and directed by Hitesh Bhatia, and Sharma Ji Namkeen proves to be the final film of Rishi Kapoor. It's the story of a retired man. So here Brij Gopal Sharma works as an assistant manager at Madhuban Home Appliances in Delhi. His wife Suman has passed away a few years ago, and he resides in a middle-class neighbourhood with his elder son Sandeep Sharma and younger son Vincy. Now Sharmaji is forced to opt for voluntary retirement, though he is only 58 years old. At first, he is happy with his retired life, but a few months later, he starts getting restless. Sharmaji is fond of cooking, and one day, he tells his sons that he'd like to start a chaat stall. Rinku gets angry over this idea, and hence Sharmaji drops the plan. Meanwhile, his close friend Chadda asks Sharmaji one day to cook for some guests at a friend's place for a religious gathering. Sharmaji at first refuses, but later gives in. He goes to the place of Manju Gulati, played by Shiba Chadda, and cooks a delicious dish. In fact, he cooks various dishes. However, he realizes that Manju and her guests are not having a religious ceremony. Instead, they're actually having a kitty party, which is going on in full swing. An enraged Sharmaji runs away, and he goes mad at Chadda. His anger soon evaporates as Manju calls him and praises his food. Sharmaji is also invited to cook during their next kitty session, and hence starts attending these kitty parties as an expert cook without informing his sons. He also gets close to Veena Manchanda, played by Juhi Chawla, who has also recently lost her spouse, just like Sharmaji. What happened next forms the rest of the film. Hitesh Bhatia's story is lovely. It gives one a feeling of deja vu of similar films in this space, such as Rajma Chawal and Do Duni Char. However, the crux and conflict shown are drastically different from any of these films. Supratik Sen and Hitesh Bhatia's screenplay is full of entertaining and most light-hearted moments. The beauty of the writing is that it never gets heavy or depressing. A few developments, however, defy logic and can sometimes be perceived as childish. Supratik Sen and Hitesh Bhatia's dialogues are one of the key strengths of the film, and certain one-liners, which I'm not going to repeat, are sure to bring the house down. I would like to say that Hitesh Bhatia's direction is of an excellent standard, especially since it is his directorial debut, but in 121 minutes or 2 hours, he packs in a lot and gives prominence to the side tracks. And there are a few brilliant scenes which stand out direction-wise. For example, the one where Sharmaji is dreaming about doing Zumba with the kitty ladies whilst dancing to the song Baby Doll. Another such scene that stands out is, in this regard, is one where Sharmaji realizes that despite being a man, even his freedom is restricted, just like those housewives in the kitty gang. Sharmaji Namkeen is, in my opinion, a really fun film. I must say that the finale, though funny, seems a bit unconvincing, and hence some viewers might not appreciate it, especially since the rest of the film is in a totally realistic space. As everybody's aware, Rishi Kapoor passed away before the completion of this film, and hence Paresh Rawal stepped in. As a result, in several places there's a lot of switching that happens between the two actors. There are scenes where it's Rishi Kapoor as Sharmaji bidding goodbye to his son from the balcony, and then in the next shot you've got Paresh Rawal when he steps in the house, playing exactly the same part. Now initially it feels odd to see such an arrangement, but soon the viewer does get used to it. However, a few moviegoers might not be able to fathom or adjust to it, as it's a never seen before phenomenon. Now, Sharmaji Namkeen starts on a beautiful note. It shows Sharmaji's retirement. It gives an idea to the viewers about the protagonist's nature and personality. The scenes of Sharmaji getting bored with his retirement life is nothing great, but the fun begins once he starts cooking for Manju. And that particular scene where he gestures Veena about whether the dal is fine is extremely cute. The same also goes for the scene where Veena drops Sharmaji and she opens up about the death of her husband. Post-interval, the scene of Sharmaji explaining the difference between Momo and Dim Sum is hilarious. There are a few emotional moments as well which stand out in the second hour, such as Sharmaji and his sons realising that they are all hiding something from each other, and Veena telling Sharmaji the importance of family. What I must say is the tribute to Rishi Kapoor during the final credits is excellent. It is so fitting. Now what I must say is, on the whole, Sharmaji Namkeen is a heartwarming film, and despite the few shortcomings that there are, it will indeed leave viewers smiling. It will also benefit and stand out because it is the final film of the late Rishi Kapoor. I hope you enjoyed my review. I think you should all watch it. It is available on Amazon Prime, and I, for one, will definitely give this film a thumbs up. Good work, Rishi Kapoor. Your legacy lives on. Now, very sadly, Ranbir Kapoor has confirmed in an interview yesterday that Uncle Randhir Kapoor is in early stages of dementia, and he revealed after watching Sharmaji Namkeen that he wanted to talk to Rishi Kapoor. In an interview with NDTV, Ranbir said, "My uncle Randhir Kapoor, who is going through an early stage of dementia, came to me after the film and said, 'Tell your dad that he's amazing, and where is he? Let's call him.' Art crosses the boundaries of medical conditions, and a good piece of storytelling really embodies that." In the same interview, Rishi Kapoor did say once, and so does Ranbir Kapoor and the rest of the Kapoor family, that the show must go on. Now, as Ranbir Kapoor said, "You have all heard it, but I have seen my father live that." I am so impressed with this film, and for me it's very heartwarming. Tulsidas Jr. last month, this film Sharmaji Namkeen this month, it just keeps that Bollywood first family of Hindi cinema, the Kapoors, just continuing from strength to strength. And with this in mind, I present my next song paying tribute to Rishi Kapoor. It's from the film Damini, and the playback is that of Kumar Sanu and Sadhna Sargam.
जब से तुमको देखा है सनम, क्या कहें, कितने हैं बेचैन। जब से तुमको देखा है सनम, क्या कहें, कितने हैं बेचैन। जब से तुमको चाहा है सनम, क्या कहें, कितने हैं बेचैन। नजर ने किया ऐसा जादू, ना होश है ना है दिल पे मेरे काबू। हाँ, पहली नजर ने किया ऐसा जादू, ना होश है ना है दिल पे मेरे काबू। ये सोच के घबराऊं, आशिक न बन जाऊं। जब से तुमको मांगा है सनम, नींद है ना मुझे कहीं चैन। जब से तुमको देखा है सनम, क्या कहें, कितने हैं बेचैन।
जब से तुमको चाहा है सनम।
क्या कहें कितने हैं बेचैन।
Of Kumar Sanu with a guest cameo vocal of Sadhna Sargam from that 1992 hit starring Rishi Kapoor and Meenakshi Seshadri with Sunny Deol, the film Damini. So listeners, this is the point where I now consolidate my entire show of today. So today, for the first part of the show, you listen to some of my favourites, which I think will also be your favourites as well. And then I brought you into the interview celebrating the 28th birthday, the 47th birthday of Akshay Khanna, son of Vinod Khanna. And Akshay Khanna was directed by Rishi Kapoor, the final subject of my show. He was directed in the film Aa Ab Laut Chale, which was a certain derivative of the RK film Shri 420. The only difference was that this film was shot in the US about a protagonist who wanted to be successful but actually followed his way abroad. Rajesh Khanna also had a cameo in that film, and Rishi Kapoor's one and only directorial venture couldn't be successful at the box office. However, it brought some prominence to Aishwarya Rai, and this being her second film for the Hindi cinema audience, and for Akshay Khanna. The success of the film Dal also cemented that success for both actors. Now, we heard Akshay Khanna and we heard that anchor who was really asking some ridiculous questions, but like I said earlier on, Akshay Khanna held his cool, he was direct, and he gave the responses that suited and matched his personality. This took us on to Rishi Kapoor and his swan song, the film Sharma Ji Namkeen, which I'm sure you will be watching on Amazon Prime, which is where it has had a platform release. And from the review, we can see that this is a very, very feel-good movie. From there, you learnt the news of Ranbir Kapoor and the sad news that very sadly he is in the early stages of dementia. Nevertheless, the Kapoor legacy lives on, and that way we can only look forward to the new films of Ranbir Kapoor. My segment next week is going to be a bumper segment. I have come across an interview where Ranbir Kapoor interviews Amitabh Bachchan, and my, this is a great challenge for me to put this show together to meet the listeners' expectations. That's what I want to do. I want to touch your souls by the show that I put together next week. Here's a small sneak peek of Ranbir interviewing Amitabh.
What have you been drinking before this?
I had 2 glasses of champagne.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
So what is your take on this commercial cinema?
No, I don't think there's any necessity to have a debate on this. Films are made for the box office. Every film, whether it's a so-called art film or so-called different kind of cinema, they're all made for the box office. Everybody invests a lot of money in it, and you want to look for a return. I don't really know what is a masala film and what is the other kind of film. I'm saying as a learning graph because I find it very unusual the way you react to any situation, the way you look, like right now, the way you're looking at me. It's, seriously, it's a great learning. It's very difficult to do that. To not move any muscle on your face or on your body and just keep looking and be able to convey so many feelings is a tough job. It's a quality that you have. A lot of it has got to do with your own face, and that's God gifted.
But Ramanathan, being an artist, how can you how can you be inspired or create or be somebody new if the spaces around you and your surrounding is not changing? Don't you want to go and rejuvenate yourself, take something from places and people?
What is to guarantee that, wherever I travel, it'll help me rejuvenate?
Just interaction.
I can just be sitting in one place. I could be rejuvenating right here, right now.
But don't you want to interact with new people? Because you don't really get out much of your house, right?
That's okay. I meet them on television, on media, on social media.
Ranbir Kapoor interviews Amitabh Bachchan. That plus much more of your favourite Bollywood entertainment, Bollywood gossip and your favourite songs will be aired next Saturday the 9th of April. Do not miss it. I'm going to close now with a live recording of Shailendra Singh at the Lata Kishore concert of 1984 in Mumbai. My tribute to Rishi Kapoor.
मुंबई के वासियों को रणधीर कपूर का सलाम जयराम जी की मैं आपके सामने पेश कर रहा हूं मेरे मित्र शैलेंद्र सिंह को.
And I believe that this song was written for and only for the late great Rishi Kapoor.
मैं शायर तो नहीं, मैं शायर तो नहीं, मगर हंसी जब से देखा मैंने तुझको मुझको शायरी आ गई. मैं शायर तो नहीं मगर हंसी जब से देखा मैंने तुझको मुझको शायरी आ गई. मैं आशिक तो नहीं मगर हंसी जब से देखा मैंने तुझको मुझको आशिकी आ गई. मैं शायर तो नहीं. प्यासी प्यासी निगाहों से जीते हुए मैंने लोगों को देखा है पीते हुए. प्यासी प्यासी निगाहों से जीते हुए मैंने लोगों को देखा है पीते हुए. जब भी सावन में बादल बरसने लगा और भी कुछ मेरा दिल तरसने लगा. मैं कश तो नहीं, मैं कश तो नहीं मगर हंसी जब से देखा मैंने तुझको मुझको मैं कशी आ गई. मैं शायर तो नहीं.
Now listeners, we only have another 3 minutes left up until the end of the show. I hope you've enjoyed today's segment with Akshay Khanna, together with my tribute to Rishi Kapoor at the end. Have a great week, keep safe, and I look forward to speaking with you guys next week, presenting more Bollywood Bites. Goodbye, God bless, and look after yourself.
क्या हुआ उठ के महफिल से जाने लगी, हो के मगरूर आंखें चुराने लगी. क्या हुआ उठ के महफिल से जाने लगी, हो के मगरूर आंखें चुराने लगी. तेरे दिल से जरा दिल लगी मैं करूं, थोड़ी सी अपनी तारीफ भी मैं करूं. तू दिलबर तो नहीं, दिलबर तो नहीं मगर ऐ हंसी, जब से देखा तूने मुझको तुझको दिलबरी आ गई। मैं शायर तो नहीं मगर ऐ हंसी, जब से देखा मैंने तुझको मुझको शायरी आ गई। मैं शायर